back in the Dreamcast days and the
Mhm.
GameCube days. So that's cool. Yeah, nothing really. I mean, Nintendo is really what I'm looking forward to
Same.
most. So
Yes.
Yeah,
Did
that's
we have any confirmation on a date for Nintendo?
not yet, not
nope.
yet.
Because yeah, it's
Just
Friday. I'm excited for Friday. Xbox goes on like Sunday, and then like yeah, I don't know what happens after that. But I think from the New World perspective, because Cosmos is saying New World's dead, I think we're going to see the console announcement for that game drop, which I think would be very very good for it. I don't. I've seen speculation that console will drop in June, like it's ready for console release, and then that will roll out, and then essentially the the next seasonal update will be what adds a lot of content. I don't know where we might see that. If we see that with the fresh start servers, we'll see, I think, a kind of a big rush that we saw with the last time. Yeah, that seems to be kind of its strategy. I'm hoping that we also get some updates on Blue Protocol and Throne of Liberty. I'm not so keen on Throne and Liberty at the moment, namely because like they're struggling deeply in Korea, and they're talking about making it come to the mobile platform, which like that makes a lot of sense. But from a gameplay perspective, that it might just be a game that that's just another Korean MMO that really didn't stick with a lot of people, especially with its PvP nature, which I'm all for. But I know that with that tends to drive people away. And then we've got other bigger games that are continually on the horizon, like like Star Citizen and Ashes of Creation, which I'm going to be in the Ashes of Creation alpha, the next one sometime this fall, whenever that goes down. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I'm with you guys. I think Nintendo is the thing I'm most interested to see, but we did already get confirmation that whenever they do talk to us next, they're not showing off Switch 2 stuff. So it's gonna be
But
kind of weird, right?
that's okay though, because it's like, then we know that the announcement is coming later this year or the beginning of next year.
yeah,
They're running up against the end of the fiscal year, at
Yeah,
that point, and they're gonna want to show something sooner. But
yeah,
will they push that Mario Kart bundle one more holiday season?
probably.
you know. But
yeah.
I'm more excited about like what is Nintendo releasing for the rest of this year, because there's a lot of things that I'd like to see before the Switch 2 comes out, because if it happens afterwards, I don't know that it'll matter. I mean, yes, people will still buy these games no matter what, but like there's just some Wii U ports we're still waiting on,
Yeah.
namely Zelda.
Yeah,
You know.
if they announce Wind Waker, I think I'd be super thrilled because I'd love to be able to sit down and play that with
Mhm.
my kids. Like they are like I remember again, I've told this story when I first saw Wind Waker, I was mad, it was like because they
Mhm.
showed us the realistic Zelda GameCube. Like, come on, guys, Nintendo isn't just for kids. And then essentially now you look at it and you're like, holy crap, that Wind Waker like is one of like the both visually and like stunning and is memorable and it holds itself up. And they, they've got it locked away on the Wii U now for some unknown reason. And hopefully we can get to see them
Right.
bring that to the Switch. And Cosmos says Nintendo was right all along about the game industry. And I think, they've highlighted that fact multiple times, which was smart because they realized they weren't going to be able to compete with the likes of Sony and Microsoft with their budgets on hardware. And so they're like, yeah, let's just make it to where we make money when we sell a handheld and let's make money when we make games. And turns out we're really good at making money. And oh, by the way, we made a misstep with the Wii U. Instead of firing everybody, how about we just like not let the executives get all these extra bonuses? So all the
Mhm.
executive like what like when we look at the problems of the gaming industry, it's like, oh, at least we got Nintendo over there, at
I
least giving some kind of pushback. Chili?
I still love my completely unique Wii U. I don't think there's many people that have the model I have. Like it's really rare. Like it actually doesn't have a Wi-Fi chip built in. For
Mm.
the gamepad.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it doesn't have a Wi-Fi chip. It actually has an RF cable that you have to plug into your controller
Oh wow.
because it doesn't support Wi-Fi. It has a Ethernet / RF cable to
Hmm.
plug in because it was
Interesting.
specifically made for certain things. Um,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
it wasn't
the
supposed to
Wii
be sold, but I was able to get my hands on one.
there you
That's
go.
cool.
That's probably worth a lot of money. I'd be curious to see pictures of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo has always wanted to just appeal to as many gamers as possible, and that always comes into play with cost in the way they approach game design. And they've admitted that, yeah, just the general cost of game design and game development is going up, but they have not ramped up to the point of where I think a lot of AAA games are. And listen, I don't think we are going to see a recession or crash like we saw in 83. Gaming's just too big. Whatever this pivot is that's happening, I think Nintendo's in a very strong position to continue to find success 2024 and beyond, because
Yeah.
they just approach things from a business and philosophy perspective much different. And I'll say it, like, I love Nintendo. Like I got criticized on one of my 2 videos about PlayStation. They were like, there were too many Nintendo games in that intro video. I'm like, I have my favorites. It's fine. But
Yeah, I'm an unapologetic Nintendo fanboy who is mad at Nintendo because they're online. Like, come on, guys.
oh yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
so
step it up.
that's kind of like the thing I hope they fix with the Switch too. But there's just that level of Nintendo uniqueness that's gonna either make it tolerable or weird, but it'll technically work, you know?
Mhm.
yeah. And so they know, we know they don't prioritize online like other platforms. And I just want to give this anecdotal story. I had a bunch of family up this weekend, and a few weeks ago my nephew was here and we were playing Smash Brothers together.
Mhm.
And he came up and he's like, let's play Mario Tennis Aces together. And then throughout the entire weekend, he and his siblings, they were all just playing Mario Party and other Switch games together on the couch, to the point where their mom, my sister, came up and she was like, the kids are playing a video game together. This is so strange. And for her to say that, I'm like, that's why Nintendo does prioritize couch co-op. And
Mhm.
honestly, that was one of the things I was most excited about that Path of Exile 2 console announcement, is it's going to have couch co-op.
It was nice
Like,
to see.
that stuff's awesome. And I as much as online is going to be a main staple for multiplayer play, I do think
Yeah.
it'd be great to see games incorporate that.
Couch co-op.
Yeah, that's
It's
just a special
important.
time.
It's
Yeah.
it is a highly, like, yeah, like Midnight saying, nobody else really supports couch co-op like Nintendo does, and we've seen it happen a little bit. I think Diablo 4 like supports it like on the consoles, and I was like, that's great. But like couch co-op, I think is an important thing to bring, like you said, because we do Mario Party. We get, like, when we play games as a family, it ends up, namely the age of the kids also helps, but it's either on the Nintendo or we do something like Pow World or things like that, where we take turns rotating the controller and who's doing what in the game. So yeah,
And
I think I agree.
And it's kind of funny because I think Sony thought more couch co-op games might get made over time. Because I don't know about if you've heard of this feature, because actually not people. I don't think many people have heard of it. The share play feature.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're on a party chat with someone else and you're playing a couch co-op game that doesn't have online support, you're able to share your second controller digitally online
Mhm.
with another person in the party. So even though even if the game doesn't actually officially support online, you are able to play the couch co-op games online with friends, which is kind
Yeah.
of funny that they invested in something like that for, when the fact there's not many couch co-op games being made now. It was it was something
Yeah.
they look to in the future, which is
It's
I like, by the way. I used to do it
Yeah.
with the Lego games with friends because the
Mhm.
Lego games supported couch co-op but didn't support online co-op,
Mhm.
and that was an easier way to play it with friends.
It works
Well,
well. It's a good feature.
yeah,
The
it's like
one thing I will like voice in terms of my frustration, especially with the Switch, because even we're talking couch co-op, I was hanging out with my nephew and we're gonna play some Smash Brothers, and he had his Switch and I had my Switch, and we're like, oh, let's just play Smash, Switch to Switch, and it was unplayable. And so
Mhm.
then eventually we were like, well, I guess we should just go back to one console where we're doing the game, and that obviously worked. But what we were wanting to do was, instead of having to push it up on the TV and get the controllers, we wanted to both kind of sit down handheld and play against each other, and it just did not
I will
work.
say we had a similar setup with a family vacation we took last year, where it was like my brother-in-law and then his 4 kids plus me and my wife and my daughter, and I was like, hey, y'all bring the Switch. We've got a couple. We'll bring them, and we land Mario Kart, and it worked. It worked really well,
Mhm.
And so it may be down to the implementation, but you can only get 4 people on one screen, but we land, and then it was like when I was growing up, we'd play Halo all night. We're
Mhm.
sitting up, it's raining, we're not going to go out to the beach or anything, so we just played Mario Kart And then the kids eventually switched and wanted to do something else, but they were playing games together, much like Mark's story earlier.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with there's not really any games that have that level of impact or that notoriety. And then there's on the other platforms, and then if you think about PC, there's just nothing there that does what Nintendo does.
Yeah.